By a long story talking about Indus Delta, uh, it's fascinating ecosystem, one of the richest ecosystem in this world, and then a tragic ecocide of this great heritage and a pride for this country, how it has been over the years, devastated ecologically, and finally to think that would we continue to mourn about this ecocide and the devastation, or there are some pathways as well. So far, I haven't seen any problem on earth which has no solution. The problem with problem is our problem. We are the problem. Otherwise, solutions are always there. The fundamental thing when we talk about the solutions is the first part, let the river flow. Let the river flow. That's the only solution. It does not deprive us from having canals and water courses, does not deny our right to grow food and drink water and use in our industry. All this could be done while letting the river flow. Whatever you see on this map, these red dots, green dots, with canals, lines, barrages, all these were built during last approximately 175 years, a little more. And this whole ecosystem, right from the top, if you look back 200 years back, there was no car, there was no, there were canals, but inundation canals. There were no green barriers. There was nothing. This map was clear with all these 5 rivers and just water reaching down there. This whole diagram has been completely shifted. What is today? Pakistan has 6 major rivers. Indus, the biggest one, and others, names are given there. There are 3 major reservoirs, the big ones. There are others as well, but the 3 are the big ones. Today there are 23 barrages and headwaters, 12 interlinked canals, and 45 major canal command areas, over 120,000 water courses. This just gives you the enormity of this irrigation system. It is huge. It's enormous. One of the largest in the world. I just given a chronology. How it starts? It starts with 1859, Upper Bari Top Canal at Madhopur headwaters. Then 1907 to 15, there was a triple canal project. This project connected Jhelum Chenab and Ravi rivers. Then Satluj Valley project, a huge project that had weirs, 4 weirs and perhaps 11 canals. That was 1933. Sakar Barrage, the first incident was 1932, followed by Koti Barrage, Taunsa, then Indus Water Treaty 1960. A major transformation of Indus River system, where the new intervalling canals and the huge reservoirs were built after the Indus Water Treaty, which has been unilaterally suspended today by India. And in 1962, the third and the last barrage in Sen Gudu Barrage. Then the 71 Chashma Barrage on Indus, but located in Punjab, 1976 Tarbela Dam. So these are the major diversion and storage structures that actually shifted the fate of Indus Delta. You can see these blue lines. These are the creeks which used to flow to Indus. There were 17, and all of these 17, only 2 survived and others have vanished. Sir Creek and Pitti Creek, its spread was 600,000 hectares. It was heydays in the best times. It has shrunk, more than 90% shrunk. It holds 97% of mangroves ecosystem. And it is home to 23 species of shrimp and 155 species of fish. 70% of shrimp fish of Pakistan is grown in these estuaries. Mangroves absorb between 70 to 90% wave energy. And remember, it's a natural shield against cyclones and tsunami. Due to the climate change, frequency of cyclones has enormously increased on this coastline. In the last century, there were about 16 recorded cyclones. There are cyclones of the lesser intensity, but significant ones was 16. And only during last 3 years, 10 cyclones have been recorded. So look at the frequency. Number of cyclones over the last whole century, nearly that number is now coming close to within 30 years in this coastline. So our risk, our vulnerability to the eco disasters on the coastline is increasing. And concurrently, unfortunately, the natural resisting shield is also diminishing. Water that comes from mountains, it's close to 80% of water in Indus is of glacial melt. Very little is generated through precipitation, rainfall and snowfall. Mostly it is glacial melt. So that glacier, these glaciers of Pakistan are on the young mountains. Few million years in geology is called young mountains. So they bring lot of silt, huge silt load. Close to 400 million tons per year silt would reach Indus Delta before this 1859 modern irrigation system. So that huge amount of silt, what it does several things. It creates a bed, a natural embankment in front of sea. It creates a natural mud wall. Not only that mud wall has the potential to resist the sea level rise, but it also is the breeding ground for mangroves, because mangroves can't be grown anywhere. Mangroves need what they need? A brackish water where sea and river water mix together and it's diluted, because seawater is more than 50,000 or 45,000 parts per million, huge salt content. So fresh water mixes with it, dilutes its salinity level and brings it to the level where mangroves could be grown naturally. So that silt bed provides soil bed for these mangroves, and then this water, when mixes with the seawater, it provides that water where it could be grown. So this is a whole ecosystem. Nobody can artificially create in any laboratory. It's not possible. You cannot create even the smallest, tiniest ocean or the smallest, tiniest river and create the ecosystem. It's not possible. It's all nature. So this is how this is created. So it needs a lot of water to dilute the seawater in estuaries. Estuary is the place where river and seawater meets. That place is called estuary. So mangroves ecosystem is the estuaries ecosystem essentially. So before 1890s, as I told you that the first barrage was created in 1859, Alvear. So data shows that before 1890s, 150 million acre foot water. Million acre foot water is a quantity of water. When 1 foot depth water is spread over 1 million acres, it is called a million acre foot in engineering or civil engineering. So 150 million acre foot water was flowing to Delta, and after the 1990s, it has become less than 10 million acre foot. Very meager water now flows to Delta, and for that small quantity of water, some of our wizards say it is being wasted to Europeans. Here I often feel disgusting comment. It is wasted to sea. Environmental flows are globally recognized are precious flows. This is not wasted. This is the unavoidable need of deltaic ecosystem. IUCN, world global leader in conservation sector, through one study said that Indus Delta's rehabilitation needs 27 to 35 million acre feet per year. That's the minimum requirement. Unfortunately, except for the flood years, which occasionally occurs, Delta doesn't receive that much water. Then a study was conducted in 2005 by international panel of experts, and they recommended to have, but they were very wide. They said it's not matter of average annual flows. They said Delta or an ecosystem or like human bodies, they need water every day. It's not possible if I ask you that if you take, say, 5 glasses of water in a day, you take 150 glasses water today, don't take a single glass for next 29 days, and you will be mathematically on an average basis, you have already got 5 glasses a per day. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. So those experts said 5,000 cusics should flow below Kotri barrage every day. 5,000 cusics. And once in 5 years, a flowish flood of 25 million acre foot should also be released so that it can flush the silt, because it's not just water, silt, the sediment, ecologically very important element. That should also reach the delta because that creates the bed for our mangroves ecosystem. So those who say that water is being wasted to sea, this is the government of Pakistan's official data. The bottom line is of 10 million acre feet, and you can see there are several years less than 10 million acre feet has gone below Kotli Barrage. Several years, except for some super floods or high floods. Otherwise, you can see most of the years it's less than 10 million acre feet. So where is that wasted surplus water that is being touted? So even if you take averages, what is said that 40 million acre feet is being wasted to delta. This is often said. No, sir. No, ma'am. That average is of 1976 to 1999, 25 years of the last century. Don't quote that old data. Talk of today. What is today? From 2001 to last 25 years, the average has come down to only 14 million acre feet. So this is not the figure that is being told to us, 40 million acre feet being wasted to sea. No. Misleading. 12 years out of these 25 years, the flow below Kotli was less than 10 million acre feet. So every second year is actually a deficit year. So half of the time you don't have surplus water. Those who want to create more dams in the name of surplus water, our question is, where is that surplus water? This is the real data. And out of those 25 years, there were 11 years when water below Kotli was even less than 8.6 billion acre feet suggested by international experts. So even if we take it that amount as a benchmark, still 11 out of 25 years are deficit years. So Indus Delta, that's why it is being devastated. Before Kotli Barrage, I'm taking years of 56 to 61. This is the official data. There was not a single day of zero flow below Kotli Barrage. If you come to 1975 to 2013, the highest number of zero flows in Rabi season were 180 days. In post-Mangla period, zero flows were average 33 days in every Rabi season. Post-Tarvela, zero flows were average 81 days. So as more dams were created, zero flow days increased. You can see the impact of upstream diversions and storages. These are the zero flow dates. Now listen carefully. 13 out of last 25 years, adh saal takriban, adha ka mathe, 13 of 25 years, more than 200 days of zero flow were recorded. Panjviyan ma 12 saal era wa jame 200 diyan tai zero flow yo below Kotli. Whereas Kotli below flow recommended is at least 5,000 cusecs. But there were more than 200 days with zero flow. How many years? 13 out of 25 years. And there are years when you can see 300 plus days of zero flow. This top bar, you can see more than 300. साल में 300 दिए zero flow. Chatindo ecosystems जो किया survive करना. Can anybody survive with even 3 days without water, with the zero flow in your body? You cannot. These ecosystems are also created by nature like human bodies. So this is the official data that tells a different story, whereas some people claim that there is a huge surplus water being wasted. You listen every day on TV channels. I don't know where from they speak this. And who pays the price? Indus Delta. Remember, Indus Delta is also situated in Pakistan. Why you say that it is Indus Delta's only issue of Sindh? Some people say, okay, if you want to save Indus Delta, Sindh should release its water. What if there you find a huge oil and gas reserve? Will you leave it to Sindh? You will claim that it is Pakistan's gas and oil. All right, then take care of Delta as well. This is also your data. All this data. All this has a huge social cost, ecological cost. 17 creeks, only 2 are left. Sediment quantity has declined. Mangroves are degraded. Sea intrusion is occupying our land. So many, and there's a long list. What happened to the aquaculture, the fish, the shrimp, and so many other fish, aqua species? Many of them have actually vanished now. In year 2000, now this is the 25 years old data, Government of Sindh's own official survey. It told at that time that 12% of cultivated land, entire province ji, Sajay province ji 12% of cultivated land, 500,000 hectares of fertile land in Indus Delta that has been taken over by sea. This is now under sea because of this erosion. Because no silt goes down, sea comes up and it occupies the lake. The active delta in 1833, almost a century back, was about 40,000 square kilometers, and now it is only 1,000 square kilometers. This is the mangoes story. Look at the bottom, 1966, 600,000 hectares mangroves ecosystem. Mangroves are present, spread over 600,000 acres. And now in year 2000, look at the decline. A sharp decline, a nosedive. Mangroves are gone. Yes, some of it has been restored through a government of Sindh project over last few years, when it has now reached to the 81,000 hectares, but compared to 100,000 hectares in 90s. Social impacts, Badin, Sijawal and Theta, these are three coastal districts of Sindh on the ranking of multidimensional poverty of United Nations. 82% households are multidimensionally poor in Badin, 85% in Sijawal, 86% in Theta. This is a human cost because ecosystems are associated with life. So that's a story that how people have paid the cost of this all upstream diversions and reservoirs. Open defecation practiced by 66%, 82% in Sijawal. Subhuman life. Has only Badin has 25% people have access to sanitation. Sijawal is only 17%. Can you imagine in 21st century, more than 80% people don't have sanitation system. Now, finally, I want to recommend something because without solutions, just beating the problems will not help us. I suggest that considering this ecological disasters of Indus Delta, an immediate moratorium should be imposed on any new upstream diversions on Indus Basin. First, rehabilitate your delta and then talk about any other thing. Satellite data should be used to report the sea intrusion. There's a huge sea intrusion. This 500,000 hectares under sea was 25 years old story. With satellites, you can get this data in seconds. People should know what is happening to the land of Indus Delta. It is vanishing with a disturbing pace, a horrible pace. Delta communities should be declared as affectees of water sector projects. No one recognizes them as water sector project affectees. We talk about the people displaced from the dam site. We talk about the affectees displaced from the canal site. The worst prices being paid by the people in this Delta. Their villages were vanished, their lives were vanished, and nobody counts them even as affectees. They should be recognized as affectees of this devastation. And they should be compensated for that. They are the people who have paid price for this modern era agriculture development in this country. Indus Delta should be declared as a protected area with guaranteed environmental flows. Protected area, ecologically significant areas, government should own it, declare it as a protected area and do some legislation to ensure that Delta receives the water share that was recognized by International Panel of Experts. And lastly, I recommend an international commission of experts should be commissioned to empirically establish the quantum of ecological upstream impact on the upstream diversions on Indus Delta. We need to know what has happened to Delta, how much land is gone, how much fish species gone, how much mangroves have vanished, what has happened to people. All that need to be documented through an international commission of experts so that people of Pakistan know that how this Delta has been devastated. I'll stop here. Thank you very much for listening.